Anyhow, I think yesterday we discontinued the class because the servers were not responding. So I want to take up those scenarios and continue from there now. So we partially created a playbook called as playbook24.yaml. When it was under execution, the server simply got stuck up. So we were actually trying to retrieve the major version of that particular operating system. We have 2 Ubuntu servers and 1 Red Hat Linux machine as part of our managed nodes. So let us run the playbook, Ansible -playbook. The name of the playbook is playbook24.yaml. Let us see what is the output coming on the screen. Do you notice? As we are expecting, the first thing it is capturing is the OS name. Then it is capturing the OS version. And finally, when you're talking about capturing the major version, do you notice it is capturing the exact major version of each and every operating system that we have? So basically, these are environment variables that we have used. These environment variables are not created by you and me. When Ansible is installed, automatically Ansible comes up with these variables. Now, we use these variables in our Ansible playbooks. If you recall, at one point of time, we created an Ansible playbook for installing some software on both Red Hat Linux machines and Ubuntu machines. This we have done using error handling, block and rescue. If the code present in the block section was failing, control comes into the rescue part. But the problem with the block and rescue is it is able to handle only 2 flavors of Linux, Red Hat and Ubuntu. If there is a third flavor, that block and rescue cannot help you. In block and rescue, what are you doing? You are blindly telling, first of all, you try to install using apt on all the machines. If it's working, it's brilliant. If it doesn't work, it goes to the rescue section and there it is executing yum module. But imagine there are 3-4 flavors of Linux. On one flavor, you are using yum module. In another flavor, you are using apt. Some other flavor, some XYZ, different commands are there. How do you handle it? You handle that using this particular variable called as Ansible_distribution. Now, this variable called Ansible_distribution, I will put it in when condition. If this is equals to Ubuntu, do something. If this is equals to Red Hat, do something else. This is how we will try to categorize. So this is how my playbook will look like. Playbook25.yaml, and I will say name is equals to install. Let's say I want to install Git based on OS platforms. Hosts is equals to, we want to work on all the machines. The next one is tasks. In the task section, I'll say name is equals to, okay, let's try to install Git using apt. Tell me what is the apt module. The name of the software is Git state is equals to present, and the last one is update_cache equals to yes. But now just watch. Aligned with the apt module, I am giving something called as when condition, and here I will say when Ansible_ distribution. Correct spelling? Ansible underscore distribution equal to what? Ubuntu. Okay, that's it. So this Ansible underscore distribution is not a variable that we are creating. It's already available. So when the Ansible underscore distribution value is equals to Ubuntu, then we want to execute a module called as apt module. Similarly, I will continue the playbook like this. I'll say name is equals to install git using yum module. Again, the same drama. Yum name is equals to git state is equals to present, and the last one is update underscore cache equals to yes or no. And here I will say when Ansible underscore distribution equals to Red Hat. Now, if you have a third flavor, can't we give the same thing over there? Any number of flavors of Linux, I will be able to handle with this kind of operation. Okay, now. Capital N. How much?
And you don't specify
which one? This one? No, it's not necessary. Directly you can use environment variables. Okay. When you're trying to print it via debug and all that, we give it in quotes. Otherwise, it's not necessary. Which one?
Often this we use either this or that.
This or that. If it fails, you do this. Here, you're not talking about failures. You are putting a if condition based on a condition we are doing. Playbook 25 dot. Did you notice this is a Red Hat Linux machine? So it is saying it is skipping. And in the case of yum, it is skipping on 2 Ubuntu servers and it will install it on a Red Hat Linux machine. Which variables? Yes. When can they go challenge with that? When is given only one time. Loop doesn't apply for when. Loop applies for the arguments which are present in here. So when is given only once. I hope everyone is understanding. See what is happening now. Installation of Git using apt. You can clearly notice that it is skipping on one machine, which is a Red Hat Linux machine. It's working on 2 Ubuntu servers. In the second scenario, installation of Git using yum is skipping on 2 machines because those two are Ubuntu servers and it is working on the Red Hat Linux machine. This is where when conditions are used. I'll give you another example to make it more clear for all of you. Let's look at the playbook 2.yaml that we have done earlier. This playbook 2.yaml, basically, it is installing a software called as Apache 2. Apache 2 is called as Apache 2 on Ubuntu machines and it is called as HTTPD on Red Hat Linux machines. Same software. Names are different. On Red Hat Linux machine, they call it as HTTPD. Here, they call it as Apache 2. Now, we have a combination of both Red Hat Linux machines and Ubuntu machines. So I want my Ansible playbook to install Apache 2 on Ubuntu servers and HTTPD on Red Hat Linux servers. Then it should edit the index.html. Index.html file is same. Then we want to restart it. Restarting should be done for Apache 2 on Ubuntu machines. Restarting should be done for HTTPD on the Red Hat Linux machines. And finally, we want to check the URL response. So basically, when condition, I have to use in 2 different places. One is for apt module and other one is for service module because the names are going to change over there. Okay. So let's create the playbook for that. I will call this playbook as playbook 26.yaml and see what I'm going to do. Name is equals to configure what? Apache 2 or HTTPD based on OS platform. This is what we are trying to do. And host is equals to all. The next one is tasks. Now in the task section, I'll say name is equals to, first of all, we'll start with the Apache 2. Install Apache 2 on which servers? Ubuntu servers. And for that, the module is apt module. The name of the software is Apache 2. Maybe state is equals to present. And I'll say update cache equals to yes, but just watch. Then I'll give a when condition. What is that variable? Ansible underscore distribution equals to which flavor? So Apache 2 gets installed when the OS is Ubuntu. If the OS is Red Hat Linux, something else I have to do. So I'll say install httpd on Red Hat servers. And for that, again, the module we are using is yum module. The name of the software is not Apache 2. The name of the software is httpd. State is equals to what? Present. And here also I'll say update underscore cache equals to yes or no. Finally, we will give Ansible underscore distribution. Spelling correct, na? Ansible spelling.
Sir, since we're using only two pioneers,
Okay.
so you're only using two OSs, only if you specify one condition also it works. One condition if you use this out. Anyway, it happens on machine only, so then
it will fail. On Ubuntu, we are using when condition. Here you did not use when condition. Yum module will fail on Ubuntu machines. Again, block and rescue should come up. So, which machine we are working on? Red Hat. So, till here, either it's going to install Apache 2 or HTTPD based on the OS we are working on. Now, after this, we want to modify that index.html file. Edit the index.html file for which we are using which module? Copy module. Content. I want to send the content as welcome to. This is the content I want to send. Destination. In which file do you want to do that? /var www html in a file called as index.html. Now, once this is done, we are trying to restart Apache 2 in which scenario? If it is Ubuntu machine, restart Apache 2 on Ubuntu, for which the module is service module. And the arguments that we are going to provide over here are name of the service is Apache 2, state is equals to restarted. But when do you want to do that? When Ansible underscore distribution equals to Ubuntu. Now let's repeat it again one more time. Name is equals to restart HTTPD on Red Hat servers, for which also we are using the same service module. The name of the service is HTTPD. State is equals to restarted. And finally, I will give when Ansible underscore distribution equal yes TRA distribution equals to Red Hat. Done. URI module remains the same. So I'll say check Apache APA CHE or HTTPD response on all servers. The module we are using is URI module, URL, and here, URL, because multiple URLs are there, we are using item and status underscore code that we are searching for is 200. Now we will use with underscore items, and here I just need to pass the IP addresses of all our managed nodes one after other. So pick up the IP addresses of all the servers. It is clearly showing like this. Okay, fine. This is one of the servers that I have. Similarly, HTTP These are actually two Ubuntu servers. We also have a Red Hat Linux machine. So I'll try to give that IP address now. Done. Okay. So this is my playbook. When condition has been used at the level of installations and again at the level of service module for restarting, everything else is just the same. So when multiple flavors of operating systems come into picture, this is how you handle it. Ansible-playbook 26.yaml- Do you observe the flow, how it is happening? Initially, we started with installation. You can see that using APT module, it is happening on the Ubuntu servers and it is skipping on the Red Hat Linux machine. Then installation of HTTPD is happening only on the Red Hat Linux server. It is skipping on the Ubuntu servers. Index.html file, same. Editing happened on all the machines. Then restarting of Apache 2. Restarting of Apache 2 is happening only on the Ubuntu servers. It is skipping on the Red Hat Linux machine. And restarting of HTTPD. It's not HTTPS. I gave a title wrong. It's HTTPD. But you see, it's skipping on these two machines and it is working on only the Red Hat Linux machine. And the URI module is done for all the machines. So in almost every interview of Ansible, this is a very common question. When multiple flavors of operating systems are available, how do you handle it? Ansible_distribution. This is a environment variable which is predefined in Ansible through which we perform this activity. Okay. Now, the next one is Ansible by default. The strategy of Ansible execution is parallel execution. Parallel ante how many managed nodes are there, it will try to execute on all the machines. But sometimes in interviews, they'll ask you, imagine that there are 10 servers. I want to execute the installation of Apache on first server. Then it should go to the second server. Then it should go to the third server. We call this as serial execution. One after other, you want your playbook to execute. Any playbook, it could be anything, but that playbook should run one after other. Let's take a simple playbook that we have done at one point of time. First playbook. What is this playbook going to do? User creation, and I want to do it on all the machines. User module. If you run this playbook, it will attempt to create this user on all the three servers at the same time. But I want to do it on first server, second server, third server in a serial order. Then you can give like this. Sorry. Serial equals to 1. The default execution of Ansible is parallel execution. Now you are making it as serial. If I run it, Manaki, first, whenever you run any playbook, before executing the tasks, first it says gathering facts. A gathering facts, so if you have 3 managed nodes, it will show you 3 IP addresses. But now in gathering facts, it will show only 1 IP address. On that 1 IP address, it will perform this entire activity. Again, gathering facts will happen for the second server. Again, gathering facts will happen for the third server. Individually, it will do. Ansible-playbook. What is the name of the playbook? Playbook 1.yaml. Wow. Acha, I'm sorry. 1.yaml requires hyphen. Children, gathering facts, do you observe? It's doing only for one server. Once it is over, you notice that 3 times it might have done that. Gathering facts, it is happening on one server, creating of the user and everything is happening. Then again, it is doing gathering facts for the second server. Then again, it is doing gathering facts for the third server.
Based on the sequence of machines given the host file?
In the inventory file. In the inventory file.
In that case, playbook we created on exact machine IP address asked on this. But usually the skipping part is shown in the first console output flow. Skipping part is shown in the first because of the output or sequencer. Skipping part is shown first. Skipping. using a when conditional.
No, that was because in that the previous playbook, we have actually given the working of Ubuntu first and skipping of Red Hat Linux was the first condition. Second condition was skipping Ubuntu and running on Red Hat Linux. So, no, I you mentioned it. See, playbook 26. See, look, I'm sorry. Look at this playbook. It's saying that first it was showing as skipping off Red Hat Linux because what is the condition here?
Teams first file Ubuntu machines.
దానికి సంబంధం లేదు ఈ ప్లేబుక్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు I'm not talking about serial execution here. If you're talking about this playbook, irrespective of what machines are present in the inventory file, this module is telling that you want to install only on the Ubuntu machines and skip all the other machines. Second module is saying that you work only on Red Hat Linux and skip the Ubuntu machines. అదే ఆర్డర్లో వెళ్ళింది. ఆ అవుట్పుట్ లో స్కిప్పింగ్ పార్ట్ ముందు వచ్చి తర్వాత ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ పార్ట్ స్కిప్పింగ్ ఫాస్ట్ గా అవుతుంది కాబట్టి స్కిప్పింగ్ ఫాస్ట్ అవుతుంది ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ టైం పడుతుంది కాబట్టి okay wait serial execution is something interesting because interviews they ask these kind of questions to trick you. There are 10 servers, 10 managed nodes, and I want my Ansible playbook to first execute on the servers. I want my Ansible playbook to So I want my Ansible playbook to first execute only on the first 2 servers. Then it should go for the next 2 servers. Then next 2 servers. How will you make it happen? Currently, it is doing serial execution, one after that. I want to do serial execution only, but within that serial execution, 2 servers it should do. Serial equals to 2. I gave serial number as 1, right? If you give serial equals to 2, it will target 2 servers. See? Whatever number you want, you can give over there. Serial equals to 2. How many managed nodes we have? 3 managed nodes. So first the playbook will work on 2 machines. Then it will be left with only 1 server. It will work on that 1 server. Ansible -playbook. The name of the playbook is playbook1.yaml- gathering facts. Do you see gathering facts happen for how many machines? 2 machines, and then gathering facts is happening for. So basically, serial whatever number you are giving, it works, you know, like that. 2 2 2 3 3 3 whatever number you want. Now, I mean, though Ansible is capable of working on any number of servers, there is no limitation on that. The default configuration of Ansible is designed to work only on 5 managed nodes. If you want to increase that, there is a configuration file of Ansible that you need to modify. Generally, this configuration file is present in /etc/Ansible folder, and this is that Ansible.cfg file. So if you open that Ansible.cfg file, sorry, if you open this Ansible.cfg file, wow, it is, what is it saying? This file is actually disabled to generate an Ansible configuration file. Comment out which statement. సరే ఈ కమాండ్ రన్ చేయమంటున్నాడు కదా రన్ చేద్దాం. పర్మిషన్ డినైడ్. sudo అంటే కూడా పర్మిషన్ డినైడా? Generally that file has all the settings, but because that file is not coming up, for previous versions of Ansible, you can check for examples in stable ansible.cfg. Let us just check it over here. The ansible.cfg file. Actually, this file should be present over there. So it's okay. I'll just copy this entire content and paste it in my playbook, in my ansible.cfg. In fact, the entire file will be commented. Whatever content we have copied, I'm just pasting it over here. Ansible.cfg file. Okay, you notice that the entire file is actually commented, right? Now, as I told you, whenever you want to, by default, Ansible is designed to work on 5 machines. You want to make it work on more than 5 machines. You come to this Ansible.cfg file, search for something called as forks. Do you see? There is a forks count by default shown as 5. So all you need to do is come to this, come to this fork section, uncomment that, and you make the number as whatever you want. Now Ansible will work on 50 machines, any number of machines. So that's the default behavior. Similarly, generally Ansible is designed to work on a particular inventory file, which is called as host file. This was the inventory file that we have been using all these days. But at one point of time, I also showed you how you can create our own inventory file in the first sessions of Ansible. I think we still have it. Do you notice that? This is the inventory file that I have created. And if I go to this inventory file, how many IP addresses are there? Only one machine. If you want your playbook to work on this inventory file, the command actually looks like this. Ansible -playbook. Which playbook do you want to? I'm sorry. Let me copy this my inventory into the location where the playbooks are present. Let's go to the playbooks folder. Ansible -playbook. Which playbook do you want to execute? Playbook 1.yaml-b. And then you have to give an option called as -i. What is the name of the inventory file we are working on? If you're not giving the -i, Ansible assumes that we are working on the default inventory file, which is /etc/ansible/hosts. When you have a customized inventory file, the command looks like this. Now, your playbook, the word all represents all the IP addresses which are mentioned in my inventory. Do you see? Because there's only one machine, it's working on that one machine. I want to make my inventory, this so-called my inventory, as the default inventory file. The default inventory file is /etc/ansible/hosts, but I want to make my customized inventory file as the default inventory file. In that scenario, you go into /etc/ansible folder and you again open that. You open that ansible.cfg file. Do you notice in the beginning itself, there is something called as inventory. So you please go to that inventory section. First of all, you uncomment that. And then you specify what is the name of your inventory file. /home/ubuntu. Ubuntu/playbooks. And what is the name of that file? My inventory. Now, all the playbooks that you are writing, whenever you try to run the playbook, they will be taking up the IP addresses from a file called as my inventory. So these are some of the basic configurations that we can do. Okay, interview point of view, they ask these questions. First of all, command module is called as the default module of Ansible, right? So if I don't want that command module to be the default module, I want to make some other module as the default module. I'll show you where we make the changes. Okay, one more thing. When we were discussing roles, remember, I told you that roles should be created in /etc/ansible/roles folder. If you don't want that, you want to create roles in some other folder, all you need to do is uncomment that, and whatever is your path, you give that. Which one?
So, user file again scenarios change.
అంటే కమాండ్ మాడ్యూల్ తోనే నేను ఏదో యాక్టివిటీ చేస్తున్నాను. There is no other module which is available in Ansible for doing that activity. Okay. For example, let's say Kubernetes installation you want to do, and Kubernetes installation, imagine that Ansible did not give you any proper modules for that. So you are depending on command module and all those Kubernetes installation commands you are passing. If the installation is already done, I don't want my Ansible to attempt reinstallation, but command module doesn't know that. So, Churandi, the default module of Ansible is called as the command module. When I was teaching you the basic ad hoc commands, I told you that this is how the Ansible code looks like. Ansible all -i, you need to give the path of the inventory file, and -m, you specify the module name, -a, and you give the arguments. We discussed that -i is not necessary when you are using the default inventory file. I also told you that -m is not necessary when you are using the command module. Okay. Who is telling that command module is the default module? This is where it is actually defined. The default module name is command module. Now, if you don't want command module to be the default module, I want to make apt module as the default module. All I need to do is to remove this, and here you give apt. ఇక్కడ నుంచి -m ఇవ్వకపోతే it assumes that you are working on apt module. That's how you change that module. No, apt module still remains idempotent, but that becomes default module. When you don't mention -m, it will take it as apt.
Make the command module put it through line of code.
Through the line of code, you can do it, but that is actually impermanent setting. Yeah, if you do it in, it works only for that playbook. But here, if you do it, it's permanent. I'll show you. Choose until so, but that happens only for that one particular playbook. So I just did not want to go with that. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to talk about, the connection also, which I forgot. I'll explain it now. I'll check it. I don't know. I forgot. I'll just check it and I'll let you know. Connection. Ansible by default is working only on the managed nodes. In some interviews I have seen, they will give you a sandbox environment. Sandbox environment in the sense Ansible will be already set up over there. See, two types of interviews happen. One is they'll just ask you to share the screen, and on Notepad they will ask you to create a playbook. That is pretty better. Better in the sense, even if you make a small mistake, probably there's a possibility that that fellow won't identify it. Some mistake with something, you just explain it properly, there's a chance that you will get through. But sometimes they'll just give you a sandbox environment where Ansible is already installed, and they'll say you create a playbook now and execute it. The person who is taking that interview might have zero knowledge on Ansible. That fellow doesn't know anything about Ansible. He's interested only in the result. What result kanipinchakapote, even 99% of the playbook you have written correctly, and only one small mistake you have done, you say, no, God, get lost. It's gone. So in that scenario, what I have seen is they'll give you only one server, which is the controller. So your playbook should work on the controller itself. But currently what is happening, your playbooks are always running on the managed nodes. I want my playbook to execute on the controller also. Then you can go to the inventory file /etc/ansible/posts. And here you have to give an option called localhost Ansible underscore connection equals to local. Akala. Simply say localhost and then say Ansible underscore connection equals to local. From now onwards, if you run your playbooks, you will notice that the playbooks will work on 4 servers, localhost and 3 managed nodes. Controller also it will work on. Go into the playbooks folder, Ansible -playbook. I will take playbook 1.yaml and అక్కడ సీరియల్ పెట్టామా అందులో సీరియల్ ఉన్నట్టుంది కదా ప్లేబుక్ 2 చూద్దామా ప్లేబుక్ 2 ఇస్ ప్లేబుక్ 2 తో ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటంటే రెడ్ హ్యాట్ లైనక్స్ మెషిన్స్ తో ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది విల్ వర్క్ ఆన్ ప్లేబుక్ 1 ఓన్లీ playbook 1.yaml. Let's remove this serial keyword. Serial unna, there's no harm. 4 servers are there, it will work on 2 servers. Okay, but I'll remove it just to avoid confusion. And now we will say Ansible-playbook. The name of the playbook is playbook 1.yaml hyphen. No. Changes. True. Machipayano. /etc/Ansible sudo vam ansible.cfg. That's true. Hyphen I each path of the inventory file we have to give. Okay, what is the /etc/Ansible/hosts. Okay, Ansible-playbook. The name of the playbook is playbook 1.yaml-b. Do you see how many machines it's working on? A new machine has come up, which is localhost. I hope you are understanding. Okay, so this is important because okay, this is how you work on the localhost. The next example that I want to talk about is, okay, yesterday when I was mentioning this, I told there is a feature called as a dry run. The meaning of the dry run is you create an Ansible playbook for doing some activity, but you can't run the playbook indiscriminately at whatever time you want. They'll give you an exact time frame saying that you run the playbook at that particular time. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, you're supposed to run it. What is the guarantee that 3 o'clock that playbook will execute correctly? We don't know. So I need to check it prior to execution. Then we do something called as a dry run. The meaning of the word dry run is you give the same thing, but you give an option called as -c or -check, anything. -c will not really execute anything. But if it executes, what is the output? That output it will show you. Ante palana server lo yellow color, palana server lo green color output, it will show you all that, but it doesn't really do the execution. So I can come to a conclusion whether the playbook is working correctly or not. Then once it's working, tomorrow 3 o'clock I can run it. I'm sorry. Ansible-playbook -check. It looks as if it is showing the same output. Everything is coming in green. What does that mean? It means that it did not really do any installations, nothing it did. Tomorrow, if you run it, this is the output you will get. That is what it is showing. Everything will come in green color because that user is already present and cheptundi. User creation did not happen. I hope you are understanding. This is called as a dry run. Once the dry run is done, then we actually do the actual configurations. Now, these Ansible playbooks also, we don't run it manually. We generally tell our Jenkins to execute at a particular date and time. Okay, so how do you integrate your Ansible with your Jenkins? I think I don't have a Jenkins server. Let me quickly create a Jenkins server. Ansible integration with Jenkins. So I want to create a new server which is going to host my Jenkins. I am taking the regular Ubuntu operating system. Okay. And all this is the regular stuff, nothing special. No, webhook is not necessary because we are not putting anything in the Git. GitHub lo pay better level. Ansible playbooks will remain on your Ansible logo on the controller. So a new server is coming up. This is my Jenkins server. Now we know that if I want to install Jenkins, there are some commands. Let's follow that. We will do Jenkins as a permanent installation. Okay. Or else Java-jar, anything you follow, doesn't matter. Why nothing is happening when I click on it? That's what.
Ubuntu have a link to that system.
Yeah,
but on operating system. Fine.
Idena? Yeah. Anyhow, I think the new server is probably in running condition. Let's connect to that server. Now we know that before we can install Jenkins, first of all, we have to install Java. Sudo apt-get update.
So the configuration file documentation what to documentation.
Ansible documentation is up to that. DigitalOcean, I'll be better. DigitalOcean will be decent in on time. Okay, what did we do? Let us install it. Sorry, apt-get install-by. What are we trying to install? OpenJDK 11-ADK. I'm sorry. Now, once Java is installed, I go back to this documentation and we will try to install Jenkins. అది చూపిస్తాను అది ఈజీగా ఉంటది
అంటే జియో ఎలక్ట్రైజ్ చిన్నప్పుడు జియో అలవాటు ఇక్కడ పారామీటర్స్ టేబుల్స్ వేస్తారు
ఇక్కడ మీరు playbooks examples తో ఇస్తాడు కాబట్టి this is much more easy over here. Okay, anyhow, please see this. Now I am trying to download the necessary Jenkins and do the installations. Okay, so with this, Jenkins is going to get installed. That's the last step.
See, is equals 0 as a percentage. What's the other value for the?
Where did we see that RC in that output, right? There was some meaning for that RC. I think I forgot. Let me check it. Jenkins Ansible integrations is pretty simple. All we need to do is from the Jenkins server to the Ansible controller, you have to establish passwordless SSH connection. Earlier, we established SSH connection from controller to manage nodes, right? But now from Jenkins server to controller, you establish the SSH connection. Once that is there, Jenkins, either it's a freestyle project or a pipeline job, it works just the same. Okay. So since it is done, please see this. First, you go into a user called as Jenkins, and there you generate the SSH keys. And this is going to generate two keys called as the public and the private key. Similarly, you go to the Ansible controller. On the Ansible controller, who is the default user? Ubuntu. So for this fellow, you set up a password. Once the password is updated, the next thing we do is we go to a file called /etc/sshd_config. Controller and ID, password authentication already yes, super. So I don't need to restart it, but just might take chances. Sudo SSH, sudo service, SSH restart. Now, once this is done, I can go back to my Jenkins server, and on the Jenkins server, I will say SSH-copy ID Ubuntu @ I am giving the IP address of the controller now. SSH keys are copied into the controller. This is my controller. Let us pick up the IP address and give it over there. So confirm. Once this is done, SSH keys are successfully copied. Let me start my Jenkins and check whether because Jenkins installation could have process 8080. Hello. Yeah. I'm actually currently busy. Can you call me after 11 o'clock, please?
For tasks or
No, that's another kind of looping, which based on a particular count, we do the looping. I want my loop to run for 5 times, 10 times. You want to give a number like that, then we use with_sequence. That's also given for modules in task only. So this is a fresh installation of Jenkins that we have done. Now, once this Jenkins is installed, hello. See, that's what I told you. That's true. No. How can you close it? It's not yet resolved. Please call. It's not a test ticket. Internet is not working, and we raised a ticket for that. Please resolve it, but don't call me now. Call me after 11 o'clock. So please say this. I want to create a sample job. I'll call this job as sample 1 or something. I'll click on OK. And now we want to run an Ansible playbook. So it's very simple. All I need to do is go to the build step section, click on add build steps, and then click on execute shell. And I'll just give the command SSH into which server we are trying to log. Controller Ubuntu @ I just need to give the IP address of the controller, because Jenkins is first of all trying to perform a SSH connection to the controller. So this is my controller. I can take the private IP and give that. and then you give the command Ansible. What is the command that you give for running playbooks? Ansible hyphen playbook. And which playbook do you want to execute? You give the complete path /home/ubuntu/playbooks. I want to execute a playbook called as playbook1.yaml-p. Okay, so your Jenkins is first going to SSH to this particular server and running the command Ansible-playbook, the complete name of the playbook and everything. Okay, now once this command is created like this and all the SSH connections are done, let us try to build this Jenkins job and see what it shows. Do you notice the output that is coming on the screen? This is the output that we get when we run a Ansible playbook. So Jenkins is running that. Now imagine that you are not using a freestyle project. You are working on a pipeline job. So I'll create another job. I'll call it as some name. It's pipeline job. It could be a declarative pipeline or it could be a scripted pipeline. Anything doesn't matter. So PIP pipeline, and within that you have agent is equals to any. Then you have stages. Within that stage, I will say run Ansible playbook. And within stage, what do you have? You have steps, and within steps, you are supposed to give the groovy code. That shell script always comes with SH, okay, in quotes. But if you are still having any doubts, you can simply go to the pipeline syntax, and in the pipeline syntax, search for an option called shell script. Give this command, SSH command that we have generated, and click on. Do you notice it just comes with SH in quotations? Nothing special. So I can take that and I can paste that within the steps section. Click on apply and save. Now click on build the job. Here colors చూపించదు అంతా black and white color కనపడుతుంది. No, we can. I mean, here it shows over here, right? In this section, when you were actually asking, you asked about RC also somewhere here only, right? But here only it actually shows whether it is yeah, changed. One చూపిస్తుంది. Okay, simply means it's not changed. Okay, like that. ఎక్కడ ఉంది rescue 0? బ్లాక్ అండ్ రెస్క్యూ పార్ట్స్ ఏమి ఇవ్వలేదు కదా మనము అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఒకసారి రెస్క్యూతో ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసి చూడండి. రెస్క్యూలో కంట్రోల్ వెళ్ళినప్పుడు మేబీ రెస్క్యూ షుడ్ కమ్ యాజ్ 1. లెట్స్ చెక్ దట్ అవుట్పుట్. రావచ్చు, నేను అంత పర్టికులర్ గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేయలేదు, బట్ మేబీ అదే రావచ్చు. ఓకే, సో దట్స్ ఇట్. దిస్ ఇస్ Ansible integrations with Jenkins. Ansible integrations with Docker is a big topic. It's not like this. Ansible integrations with Jenkins, hardly we did SSH connection. If SSH connection is there, Jenkins is able to execute whichever playbook you want. Once you understand how this playbook is executing, can't we schedule this playbook for a particular date and time? We know all that, right? You can go into this build triggers option, click on. So the playbook gets executed at whatever date and time you give. So that's not a big deal. But Ansible integrations with Docker is a big topic. So I'll be taking up that concept on Saturday's session. That will be the last class. And Ansible so we'll have the second session also this Saturday itself. Second and third session, we'll try to have it this Saturday. I think Ansible integrations with Docker, it seems one of the students yesterday pinged me, saying that they asked these questions on Ansible Docker integrations. She tried to tell something, but it seems they were not convinced with that, and they even got irritated, it seems. But it's okay. So that Ansible Docker integrations, we'll try to address that in the Saturday session, and we'll close up everything officially over there. Okay. So that's it. Yes, much better. We'll do that. Now that Jenkins is there, we'll show that also. Okay. So we'll close the session for now. Thank you so much.